the Chevrolet Monte Carlo has always carried an air of effortless sophistication. Even the name itself evokes the glamour of European high society. Monte Carlo, the sparkling jewel of Monaco, where elegance meets performance, and the streets echo with the sound of luxury engines against the Mediterranean breeze. When Chevrolet chose that name in 1969 for its all-new personal luxury coupe, it wasn't just selling a car. It was selling a lifestyle, an American interpretation of class and confidence wrapped in steel and chrome. Over the decades, the Monte Carlo evolved through changing times, from the powerful early 1970s models to the sleek, aerodynamically refined cars of the 1980s. But for many enthusiasts, the 1984 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS represents the perfect moment when style, nostalgia, and performance met under one unmistakable roofline. The Monte Carlo had always been part of Chevrolet's strategy to offer something that wasn't just about horsepower, but about presence. A car that could pull up to a country club or a drive-in with equal ease. By 1984, the automotive landscape was in flux. The gas crunch of the previous decade had changed American priorities. Emissions laws had rewritten the rules of performance, and yet the desire for sporty coupes still pulsed through American veins. Chevrolet's answer was not to abandon the idea of performance, but to reimagine it for a new generation. That was the mission of the Monte Carlo SS, a car that didn't scream muscle but whispered power with poise. It was confident, composed, and unmistakably cool. To truly appreciate the 1984 Monte Carlo SS, one has to understand where Chevrolet, and indeed America, stood in the early 1980s. The muscle car era of the late 1960s and early 1970s had faded, replaced by economic uncertainty, rising fuel costs, and an increasing focus on practicality. But something in the cultural DNA of car lovers refused to die. Drivers still longed for a coupe that felt special, something that looked fast even when it wasn't trying. The Monte Carlo SS filled that role perfectly. It wasn't an all-out drag racer, nor was it a humble commuter. It was a stylish middle ground, a car that let its driver feel a little more alive behind the wheel without sacrificing comfort or dignity. The fourth-generation Monte Carlo, which arrived in 1981, brought cleaner lines and more refined proportions. But it was the SS model, reintroduced for 1983 after a notable absence, that truly reignited the spark. The 1984 version refined that formula even further. The most obvious change was in the design, the aero front fascia that gave it a purposeful, race-inspired stance. Its long hood and sharply angled nose looked as if it had been sculpted by the wind itself, an impression that wasn't far from reality. NASCAR racing was booming in the early 1980s, and the Monte Carlo's return to the oval tracks brought legitimacy and excitement to the nameplate once more. The Monte Carlo SS became Chevrolet's halo coupe, carrying the banner for performance and pride within the GM lineup. The car, offered by PC Classic Cars in Sherman, Texas, captures this spirit almost perfectly. It's not just another old coupe with fading memories. It's a time capsule, preserved in a way that makes you feel like you're stepping back into the Reagan-era optimism of 1984. The odometer shows 36,768 actual miles, a figure that suggests careful ownership and a life spent more in admiration than in heavy use. Its 305 cubic inch, 5.0-liter, small block V8 rests beneath the hood, paired with a turbo 350 automatic transmission, the kind of mechanical combination that balances smooth cruising with the deep, reassuring hum of American power. You can almost imagine the way the engine's note rolls through the mufflers. Not loud, not aggressive, but confident, like a low conversation between old friends on a quiet Texas road. Underneath, the car retains its proper G-body credentials: manifolds, crossover, dual aftermarket mufflers, and those classic long tailpipes that define the Monte Carlo's look from behind. The brakes follow a tried-and-true formula: power-assisted discs up front, drums in the rear, supported by power steering that keeps the car relaxed yet responsive. Everything about it was engineered to deliver a balance between comfort and sport, between highway grace and backroad fun. It was never about lap times. It was about character. Step outside and look at it. The paint code 11U, white glistening under the Texas sun, highlighted by the Monte Carlo SS decals that trace the bodyline like subtle jewelry. The stance is pure 1980s perfection. 15-inch rally wheels wrapped in two 15/65 or 15 tires, filling the arches just right. There's something incredibly satisfying about the simplicity of the design. No overstyled creases, no unnecessary chrome, just clean geometry and purposeful lines. It looks like a car that knows exactly what it is and doesn't need to shout about it. That's a rare trait in any era. Open the door, and you're greeted by the interior, code 22D Dark Royal Blue. It's a space that feels both vintage and inviting, a place where everything is functional yet dignified. The split bench seat and column shifter remind you that this was a car meant for comfort as much as cruising. There's factory air conditioning, converted to our 134A for modern reliability, and it blows cold. A small but satisfying detail that says this car wasn't neglected. Power windows, manual locks, and cruise control round out the convenience list, blending old-school analog simplicity with the basic luxuries that made the Monte Carlo a personal luxury coupe, in the truest sense of the term. It's easy to imagine long highway drives, the kind where the world seems to move at your own rhythm, the V8 quietly purring beneath the hood as the miles slide by. The 1984 Monte Carlo SS wasn't just a car. It was a reflection of what America wanted to believe in again. It was about optimism. It was about reclaiming the spirit of the open road after a decade of compromise. Chevrolet understood that, and they gave the car a personality that transcended its numbers. Sure, the 305 cubic inch V8 wasn't going to win many drag races with its modest horsepower, but that wasn't the point. What mattered was how it made the driver feel. Proud, confident, and connected to a heritage that went back to the days when Chevys ruled the streets and style was as important as speed. This particular example, preserved so well and offered for $29,950 by PC Classic Cars, represents more than just a vintage vehicle. It's a piece of rolling Americana, the kind of car that turns heads not because it's exotic, but because it feels familiar and timeless. For less than the cost of a new 2026 Ford Mustang Fastback EcoBoost, you can own a piece of history that will only become rarer and more beloved as time goes on. The comparison almost feels unfair. The modern Mustang, starting at $32,320 before destination, might offer more performance on paper, but it lacks the emotional resonance that a well-preserved Monte Carlo SS brings. One car is a machine, the other is a memory. It's also telling that even within GM's own history, cars like this stand taller with each passing year. The modern Chevrolet lineup has largely left behind the realm of accessible coupes. The once vibrant tradition of personal luxury cars has faded, replaced by SUVs and crossovers that, while practical, lack that intangible charm. The Monte Carlo SS comes from a time when a two-door coupe wasn't a niche indulgence. It was a statement. It said something about who you were and what you valued. And today, standing in a showroom surrounded by anonymous modern metal, it still says something. For context, PC Classic Cars also has another gem from the same G-body lineage, a 1986 Buick Grand National with 31,000 miles and its legendary turbocharged 3.8-liter V6. That one carries an asking price of $53,950, a testament to how much the Grand National's mystique has grown. But even with that, the Monte Carlo SS retains a unique place in enthusiasts' hearts. It's more accessible, more relatable, more Chevy. It represents the everyman's dream car of the mid-80s. Fast enough, stylish enough, and priced so you didn't have to win the lottery to park one in your driveway. What's fascinating about cars like this is how their appeal evolves over time. When new, the Monte Carlo SS was admired, sure, but it wasn't exactly exotic. It was the kind of car you'd see in suburban driveways, driven by young professionals, middle-class dads, and the occasional enthusiast who added a few custom touches on weekends. Today, that same car carries a different kind of allure. It's become a bridge to the past, a reminder of a simpler, more analog era. In an age of touchscreens and EVs, the mechanical honesty of a carbureted V8 and a column shifter feels refreshingly real. It's a machine that talks to you, that makes you part of the process. And there's something deeply satisfying about that experience. The 1984 Monte Carlo SS doesn't just transport you physically. It transports you emotionally. You start the engine, hear the low burble of the exhaust, feel the gentle vibration through the steering wheel, and you're back in a world where cars had personalities. The steering has weight, the throttle has texture, and the smell of aged vinyl mixes with gasoline and nostalgia in a way that no modern car can replicate. Collectors and enthusiasts know that the value of such experiences is rising faster than any market index. You can buy a newer, faster car, but you can't buy the sense of connection that something like this offers. The Monte Carlo SS sits right at that sweet spot between affordability and collectibility. Old enough to be cherished, yet not so rare that it feels untouchable. It's the kind of car you can actually drive and enjoy, not just polish in a garage. And with under 37,000 miles, this one from PC Classic Cars practically begs to be taken out for a weekend cruise, maybe along a stretch of open highway with the sun dipping low and the air just beginning to cool. The appeal extends beyond mechanics and metal. It's about design, about a sense of proportion and restraint that modern cars often forget. Look at the Monte Carlo SS from the side. The long hood, the short deck, the slightly arched roofline that flows into the trunk. It's balanced in a way that feels deliberate, artistic even. The details are subtle. The SS decals, the clean fender lines, the understated grille. But together they create an identity that's instantly recognizable. It's a car that could only have come from that era, and yet it feels timeless. And that's perhaps the greatest compliment you can give any classic car, that it transcends its moment in history to become something enduring. The Monte Carlo SS doesn't rely on excess to make its point. It's about confidence through simplicity. When you drive it, people don't see an old car. They see a symbol of something enduring, American craftsmanship, ingenuity, and pride. The cabin continues that theme. The blue interior feels like a denim jacket from the 80s, rugged, familiar, and forever cool. The dashboard is straightforward, with analog gauges that speak in dials instead of digital screens. Everything has a tactile quality. The way the steering wheel feels in your hands, the click of the shifter, the satisfying thump of the door closing. Even the aftermarket sound system, likely added to bring a touch of modern audio clarity, feels like a respectful upgrade rather than an intrusion. It's no wonder that cars like this have found a second life among collectors and younger enthusiasts alike. The Monte Carlo SS sits at the intersection of nostalgia and practicality. It's a car you can show at a local meet, take to a weekend cruise, or simply enjoy on a Sunday drive. It's the kind of car that draws stories. People stop you at gas stations to tell you about the one they had, or the one their father used to drive, or the one that sat under a tarp down the street that everyone admired. It's more than a car. It's a conversation starter, a shared memory. In today's market, $29,950 for such a well-preserved example feels like a small price to pay for something that delivers so much emotional value. The collector car world is full of million-dollar machines that spend their lives hidden away, but the real joy of classic ownership often lies in cars like this. Approachable, authentic, and full of character. PC Classic Cars, with its reputation for offering clean, honest classics, has captured that sweet spot again. The Monte Carlo SS was never about perfection. It was about personality. It was about finding joy in the details, the way the hood slopes down to that arrow nose, the way the tail subtly curves upward, the way the stance sits just right on those rally wheels. It's about the smell of the interior, the sound of the V8, and the feeling of being part of something distinctly American. The Monte Carlo name may have faded from Chevrolet's lineup after 2007, but its spirit lives on in cars like this one. In the enthusiasts who keep them running, in the small-town dealerships that specialize in preserving them, and in the memories they continue to create. The 1984 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS is more than a chapter in automotive history. It's a symbol of continuity, a reminder that style, confidence, and character never go out of fashion. And so, as this white coupe sits under the Texas light, waiting for its next caretaker, it carries with it not just its 36,768 miles, but 4 decades of heritage. It embodies a time when driving was an experience, when cars were more than transportation, they were extensions of ourselves. If you stand close enough, you can almost hear the echoes of its era. The music, the optimism, the endless highways. In that moment, you understand why cars like the Monte Carlo SS endure. They don't just move us, they remind us why we fell in love with driving in the first place.